I've got a bit of a different camera angle today because I need to find a way to block that. Today I want to focus on La Lupa. She just got revealed, and I think that her design is underwhelming, quite frankly. The trailer was great. Don't get me wrong. I loved watching it. It was visually good. It wasn't as good as a lot of the older ones, but it was good. But I want to focus a little bit more on, Vendetta, aka La Lupa's character design and general, from what we can tell, her personality, things like that. That's what I want to focus on. When it comes to her backstory, I actually do think this is perfect. You know, it kind of thematically works in a way that, yeah, Cole Cassidy was right, and you shouldn't just go around killing people. That's not how we do things.
This was not the plan!
It's the consequences of Gabriel's actions coming back to haunt him all these years later, killing a man in cold blood without trial. His daughter will now seek out revenge. I think that's a beautiful way to handle the story for Vendetta. It works pretty seamlessly into the lore, and, all Italians are related. Canonically now, I guess. It's funny to me. But more importantly, what I want to worry about is her actual character design. One thing I saw on Twitter was CB talking about how, why is she called Vendetta and not La Lupa or just Lupa? And I do think that she has a good point, right? La Lupa is a much better, much more original sounding name than just Vendetta. Vendetta kind of sounds like a mobile game villain, like Raid Shadow Legends introducing Vendetta. That's kind of how that name feels, if I'm gonna be honest. After thinking about it a little bit harder, I do actually think Vendetta works better than La Lupa if they take the story in a certain direction. You see, La Lupa works as her gladiatorial name. It's her given name. It's the name that she has because it's her show name. Now, if we're to go another direction with this, for example, Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball is named Wrecking Ball. He's not named Hammond. Hammond was his given name, his scientist's given name. But his name is not Hammond. He is Wrecking Ball. He chose that name for himself. He took up the moniker of Wrecking Ball after deciding to be his own entity, after consciousness. After all, even though she said she has grown to like it a little, it's still literally her given name as well by the fans. If they do go the direction of her becoming this vigilante force hunting down Blackwatch or even potentially Overwatch members, then Vendetta works really well for that compared to La Lupa. Vendetta, she has a vendetta against these people. They killed her father.
You killed my father. Prepare to die.
So of course she would, not quite stick with the name La Lupa, especially if she doesn't want to tie La Lupa into Vendetta. If she wants those to be two separate entities for public image sake, then yes, she would call herself Vendetta when she's going on these vindictive raids on the former Blackwatch members. So that I actually do think works. What doesn't work, in my eyes, is her character design. Now, I'm going to go on a bit of a TB Skyen type of rant, and if you haven't seen TB Skyen, he talks about character design, philosophy about that stuff. Primarily, he started with League of Legends, and he's got great stuff. I recommend going to check him out. And he's inspired me to think a lot more about character design and about the way that characters are implemented into games and how their visual language is used. And I think La Lupa is pretty underwhelming in this respect. She is a large, strong woman. That's great. Love that. Just seriously, I do love a strong woman. But why is she so snatched? Like, genuinely, she is very thin. It's a similar problem I have with Briggs' in-game model, where she is very thin. Here she is in the Ryan cinematic. I think La Lupa should have been a bit thicker. Not, like, fatter, but, like, her waist should have been a bit thicker. A perfect example of this is Alawi in League of Legends. A huge wall of a woman. And she's just absolutely massive. And La Lupa, rather, it's another very large, very strong woman. But she should have gone further. I think she should have had a bigger waist. I think she should have bigger arms. Her legs are fine. Her legs are, fucking huge. But I think she should have had more muscle in her upper half. I don't care. Like, it doesn't have to be realistic. Like, she's thinner than Zarya, and I actually do think this is a character who could have been larger than Zarya in terms of overall muscle mass. If she's meant to be a DPS, I can see why you wouldn't do that, but she's got this giant fucking sword that she's swinging around like a madman. and she's meant to be this like super soldier type of deal. I think she should have been thicker than she was. I don't think that works for her character very well. But more importantly than her size is her face. She's very pretty, and well, it's not necessarily a problem. It kind of is, because what is there to her other than being pretty in the face? Like, she's got a somewhat strong but soft face. She has a lot of makeup on, and that's kind of one of my problems. She's got a lot of makeup. She doesn't have scars. I saw this redesign by 2Pizza2Roll on Twitter that perfectly shows what I think she should have looked like. Give her some damage. Like scars, bruises, things like that. Give her some damage in the face. A mole. Imperfections make character design good. And there's none of that here with La Lupa. She looks like she just came out of the new human factory and has no damage on her. She has tattoos on her arms, I think those are tattoos. That's decent. But like, her hair is all done up. Like, there's not a single strand of hair out of place. There's no scars. There's no bruises. There's no nothing. Meanwhile, in this redesign, she's got her hair down. It's fairly messy. Like, it would make more sense for her hair to be up if she's a combative character. But that's such a small nitpick that I do not care, especially given the fact that it's supposed to be like a wolf's mane in this redesign, I'm guessing, and it pulls that off excellently. She's got the scars, like the missing eye draws parallels to old Overwatch heroes like Reinhardt and Ana, where, you know, they went down a more righteous path, and she's going down a much more vindictive path. In particular, her and Reinhardt, I think, have a lot of storytelling potential between the two of them. They're both gladiatorial type of characters, loud, rambunctious, showmanship. That is kind of who both these characters are. But while Reinhardt is a bit of a meathead, La Lupa is a bit more calculating and intelligent. Drawing a parallel by giving her the missing eye as well, but giving her more scar tissue, maybe not work for the more intelligent side of that design. Maybe the, you know, cleaner face does work for that. But I do think she needed some damage, some visible, shown damage. And not just damage, but like messy hair. Why does she look like she just got out of the shower? She has perfect hair. Like I want to know her hair care routine. Like, what conditioner are you using? What hair mask are you using? Your shampoo? I need to know all of it, because it's just perfect hair. That doesn't feel right for a fighter. It should be a little bit messy. It should be a little bit out there. And I will say, to Blizzard's credit, I prefer the dark colors with the white undershirt contrast that they have going on. But overall, in terms of the artistic design around La Lupa, I do think that she's presenting herself as an okay addition to the game. Not as good as somebody like Hazard or even Venture, right? Those are two characters who I think have very solid visual design. Hazard a little bit too sexy, I would say. But she does seem fine. And I would much prefer it if she had just like a scar here or there, or a mole here or there, or slightly messier hair, stuff like that. And I think 2Pizza2Roll has good interpretation of the character. Like, this is possibly my favorite interpretation of the character so far. It's very early days, but this is how I would have preferred she looked if I had to choose between the two, 100%. But we're just gonna have to wait to see how our actual gameplay works out. I'm recording this at around noon on November 18th, Eastern Standard Time. Here's hoping that the in-game stuff looks good too.